Now recording. Woo!
Hello, welcome to Bleeding Tree Games. We're just going to have a little talk here about what we think is coming in the reveals this weekend. I'm Amy, and with me I have Peter.
Hello. I don't want to call this a podcast. Contextually, a podcast should have some episodes and should have some value, like a year down the line. And this is
Yeah,
mostly the most pressing stuff is going to be figured out in a few days, and the rest of it's rumors about what's going to happen in the next year. So
yeah, and there's a lot of interesting stuff. I'm clueless about a lot of these main reveals. Yeah, let's take a look at what they've shown us so far.
I don't know if it needs to be said, but we're not technically basement dwelling weirdos, but we have no clout in this matter beyond
Yes, we have no clout, we have no
my
say, we
sister
have no
likes all my Facebook posts, but that's my only reliable attention.
apologies for all the background noise coming from my end.
Yeah, if we do a real podcast, we'll like cancel audio and I'll bother to close the window. Um,
Yes, yes.
I don't know if one of my neighbors just got a trampoline or if one of my neighbors just realized they had a trampoline, but they've been jumping on it all day. So yeah, we've got this random skirmish reveal, Amy. I don't know why they're doing the reveal now unless they're running out of time between now and when they need to have other stuff revealed for Gen Con, is it?
It's one of those. It's one of those.
Yeah. I think
Yeah,
we both forgot that Blood Bowl existed.
I
Is
know. I
emotionally
mean, I'm
invested
sure
in the
there must be a big market for Blood Bowl, but
I
they
know,
keep
and
on doing
it's
it, and some of the kits have been great. I bought the Nurgle team. That was good for converting up for my Death Guard, but it's not really an area I have any huge interest in.
I know, and I want to like the little pigs, and I want to like the other things. I'm sure there was
There are
something
a few
else.
things in it. I think that's what we're going to see a lot of this weekend. There's going to be a new meme model of some kind.
Sorry, a new what?
A meme model. There's, like another pig or like a bird or some cute animal that everyone obsesses with.
I haven't. Yeah, that would make sense with something in Underworlds that didn't make sense to me earlier. Hey, well, this
Okay.
messes up my order for the slides. I told. So here's weird. They revealed Necromunda stuff like on Tuesday, and they
Yes,
have the reveal on Sunday.
obviously, like they have to show off some model on Monday. They've kind of established that as fact by now, but whether this is kind of indications on what we're going to be seeing at the weekend, I don't know. Because I thought we'd be seeing the vehicles, and there certainly seems to one of Games Workshop's posts seemed to suggest like something about revving of engines.
Yeah, I definitely would. Okay, I had forgotten about them always revealing a model on Monday. With that in mind, it makes sense if they had this guy or these two guys or these two if these two were ready for reveal now or were scheduled to be revealed now and they have nothing to do with vehicles, it would make sense they'd be the sacrificial
Yeah,
reveal.
yeah, maybe they're like standing by the sidelines or something, shouting the vehicles on. But while we've got them up, I would like to, can we just pay attention to these three screens on top of the left-hand guy?
I don't want to think
And
about painting that ever.
that is a fantastic paint job, and it's a bit more involved than we might usually see freehand from the heavy metal team. And I want to say, like, absolutely yes, that's amazing. Keep up the good work.
It's
Keep
crazy.
painting stuff like that. I love it.
But gee, you mentioned the revved up thing.
Yes, there we
Woo!
go. Get wrapped up. That was it.
So I'm guessing we're not gonna see. I'm guessing we're not gonna see. It's not gonna be more weird ash waste things because they've got one of those they haven't sold yet that they revealed. But this is gonna be like
Yeah,
more cars for more gangs or maybe
yeah.
more
It's
types
still
of
ash
cars.
waste is the setting, I think, for all the vehicles, but I wonder what it is because Gene Steeler Cults have got all the very nice bikes, and I know they've said you can now. use a lot of those Gene Stealer cult vehicles with rules. You know, you can convert them up and stuff for Necromunda.
That's interesting. I hadn't. I mean, of course, the thought of bikes occurred to me. I just didn't think about it long enough that I remembered it now until you said it.
Yeah, yeah, because I remember reading those rules, and I don't play Necromunda either. I'm not big on the side games, but again, fantastic models. I bought a fair few for conversions, and yeah, I was just really happy to see they were like, you know, you get your vehicle general kind of chassis rules, and then you can add things to them. And it just really kind of encourages conversions and kit bashes, and that's something I really like to see them doing, especially since they've tried to remove all kind of kit bashes from 40k with the more recent codexes.
I don't think I paid enough. I'm now listening to you and thinking I didn't pay enough attention to Necromunda's Ash Wastes expansion. I thought it was just here's like some rules that make the rulebook 10 to 20% longer, and for certain scenarios you need cars. It didn't occur to me that it was in effect a parallel game like the things with the old EVE Online shooter that was in the same universe with the same lore, but it was a FPS instead of a space privateer simulator.
Yeah, yeah. The way they've done it, it seems to be like again, I'm not an expert on the rules by anyway, but from what I've seen, it seems to be like, you know, you can play your general gang wars games, or you can choose to play like a game out in the ash wastes and like a campaign out there, and you get your vehicles, and you know, it's just a bit more of a mobile game.
Ooh.
I think the two kind of play styles can coexist quite well together.
I am not ignoring Ash Way. Excuse me as I segue or transition terribly to the last slide I have for Necromunda, which is there is still the unreleased Shaman on Giant Bug thing, which looks magnificent, of course.
See, I didn't know we hadn't got this. I remember seeing it, but I'd assumed this had come out with the rest of the stuff, is it?
No, it's not in the box, and they're not selling him on its own. So he's still coming up, I guess. I think
Yeah.
all the other bugs have 2 legs, and this one has 4. Well, he has 3 and a fake, or it has 3 and a fake. And
Yeah, yeah. It's interesting. It makes me think because, as far as I'm aware off the top of my head, the only new gang we've got and since then was the Ironhead Squat Prospectors. So maybe they're going to get some kind of leader or something.
that would be nice.
Yeah.
What else was there? What else was there? Oh yeah, there's some other game called Kill Team that we're all excited about.
Yeah, so Cassicans versus Gene Stealers, that's the rumor.
I think that's quite a likely rumor because we know this cat thing is coming out, and the base on the Cassicans, the base is on these guys. You know, I've been shouting and Marsha. People keep saying, "Oh yeah, I heard that rumor too," or completely unrelated. The bases on these guys are very different from the bases on the Sentinels. They're also different from the bases on Ursula Creed.
Yeah,
Hey,
yeah.
they look kind of like there. So that looks like a base with some rubble on a platform, and that guy's got a base with some rubble on a platform, and they haven't shown any the Carsicans at any other angles as well, which sort of makes me think that they weren't going to show off the Carsicans until this reveal, or until they were doing the content of this reveal, and then the leak happened, so they showed off the Carsicans, but they only had those pictures of the Carsicans, and they didn't want to show off that the Carsicans were on a non-standard base. Or I might just be overestimating how much.
It does make a lot of sense for that to be with them. But on the other hand, it seems a very kind of like something more you'd associate with like the Mechanicus, maybe. I don't know why they'd have that little thing. And also, sorry, having a complete mental block here. I forgot what I was saying halfway through my sentence. But the cat machine, it seems to have the. Someone said that was the Ecclesiarchy eye because it doesn't have the bars on it that the Inquisitorial one, and that would seem to be suggesting something more like, I don't know, the ecclesiarchy priests or whatever.
Okay. I have to
Imperial
admit,
cult.
until this moment, I did not realize that the silvery part of the frame made an eye with the skull in the middle. I thought people were talking about the fact that there were two bolts on top of the skull. Will my cursor show
No,
up?
no.
Yeah, so I've been looking at like this part. I've only seen this part, but I never looked at this whole thing. I'm just hoping
Yeah,
everyone gets pets.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I hope they're not selling this as the meme model we get this time because it's a little disappointing for that. I mean, it's a little generic. Like, I think they've kind of oversold it a little, but I guess okay. I could convert it into something.
Someone on YouTube commented or joked that the reason why the Tau came with drones, some of the Tyranids came with Ripper swarms, Necrons came with the Scarabs, and a bunch of other kits came out like that, was that when the kits were designed, Pokemon was super popular, so everybody got pets. And that was when the black the and I don't know if they said it or if I filled it in. Is that when the Black Templars were the poster boys? So the Black Templars had Space Marine Scouts as pets. What
Yeah,
if they're doing something and giving more little pets to squads? So that would be cool if the Carsicans are coming with this thing in their normal
yeah.
retail box. If the Commandos come with their Squig and their Escape Grot, I'm I'm just
That would be cool. I'd very much like to see that.
I'm a big furry man, and
Definitely.
I'm full of big furry feelings about little furry things.
I mean, the other side is supposed to be Gene Stealers, and the old Gene Stealers, their version of a pet was the Tooth. I don't know if we're going to cut out that word in particular, but
Uh,
they certainly have a very butthole looking aspect to them.
I don't remember that. I don't think I have any more junk on Kill Team. I don't have any more things that I remember us seeing for Kill Team.
Well,
So,
the other
some
thing, let
Gene
me just talk
Stealers.
about the Gene
Something you
Stealers.
said
Yeah.
about Gene Stealers though keeps popping into my brain. When the and it's something I want to mention. I'll repeat later when we're talking about future crap. But the Tyranids patrol, combat patrol, is like 3 boxes of termagants and something else, and we were all just looking at that on the Facebook groups, going, "What? That makes no sense." Unless they are keeping, unless they're going to redo Gene Stealers for this and replace the sprue, and they needed to get the thing on the face
Yes, yeah.
in the side channel. But I think
If you go have a look at the sprues, you can see what I was talking about.
thing. Why have I
Yes.
never seen that? What does it do? Does it do anything?
Uh, I don't know Gene Stealer rules. I assume it's got some kind of like aura effect or something.
So it's like this. What is
Yeah,
that?
yeah. The
What
Gene
goes in
Stealer
it?
pet is rather unfortunate looking. Certainly
Something.
got Grimdark down.
Yeah. Oh, something that I mentioned in the real podcast is you can sort of age the Games Workshop sprues by how they're shaped, and with this one, it's all these very straight lines for the
Yeah,
stuff to
yeah.
flow, and then some.
Look at all that wasted space.
I think it's. Well, yeah, that too. I'm guessing it was a limitation of the manufacturing stuff at the time, because I don't think they were using CAD at this time. Were they? Or were they?
Yeah, well, they weren't really as efficient at this time. I think this may have been like either the early days of CAD, like very early, or one of the later days of sculpting. I don't know exactly when
before
this
they,
kit
they
was.
before they'd really worked out how much they could screw around and still get a usable mold out of the machine.
Yeah, yeah. It was a case of like, how much can we cram into one set? Because obviously, these machines that they have that produce these, they can only mold one sprue at a time, and the machines are very expensive. So they want to try and get as much on each sprue as they can. Some of these older kits, you get like 6 or 7 sprues with them.
Hmm. We've all heard the joke about the model designer at Games Workshop who got mad at one of the mold designers, and as a joke, Rivalry gave one of the characters a cigarette because the mold designer had said we can't handle anything smaller than a cigar. And then the mold designer made it work somehow.
Oh, right, okay.
And that's why Giannis Drake in Blackstone Fortress has a cigarette instead of a full cigar.
Yes, one that snapped off almost immediately online.
Not as fast as Amelin's rifle.
Not quite that fast, but almost. I think that was part of the experiment where they were like, oh, how thin can we go with this? And weren't quite aware of, yes, this is going to snap. They do seem to have a bit more structural integrity at least, although small bits do still snap off all the time, so...
I think my Amelin and my cigar have been fine. I don't think I've broken any of the recent models, but some of the Night Haunt have really made me nervous. And so I'll like try to add extra secures. I think the new guy on the torture rack is pretty good for this because the model's super swoopy and spindly and flowy, but there's a lot of points where the model's touching the base, and as well assembling it was pretty simple after the rest of the Night Haunt Horde. Whereas the jailer thing that comes with the two screaming ghosts waving chains, it's a Night Haunt, I can't remember what his name is, but I think that guy was definitely the worst of the dude support your sculpts issue.
Yeah.
But I mean, he works fine, and he assembles fine, and he certainly assembles fine. But I used a big skull to prop him up. Anyway.
Getting back to it.
Yes.
Yeah, obviously there's rumours that 10th edition is going to be...
let's do the rumors at the end. Let's do the rumors at the end.
Okay, I was going to say...
Let's talk about anyway, one Underworlds rumor.
Yes.
I don't know what this is going to be. But you said pets, and that looks like a dog collar. It could be a human collar, yes, but it's got a little leash on it.
Okay, so Battle of the Hex is obviously like... Underworlds is a hex-based tile game. But it makes you think of... I don't know. Particularly like, I'm thinking Death Magic.
Okay.
Are we due another death team?
Oh. So...
Did they show the world's roadmap? Sorry, I can't remember now.
No, I think it's been missing because I remember somebody had some long rant about how the company had completely failed and was now going to go under because they'd been slower to reach all the points on their roadmap. It was something like they hit their roadmap goals, but they didn't hit them ahead of time like they'd been saying, well, like they usually had. So I think for this chunk of it, they just didn't bother with the roadmap. And I mean, I don't know if Games Workshop is still running at capacity, but they certainly are still making money as far as I can tell. People are still buying all their stuff. Their products are still, as I understand, mildly cheaper than learning to and then 3D printing it all yourself. So
I think there's a lot of negative talk on social media, like the second anything wobbles at all, like they're quick to shout, oh, GW is gonna fail as a company because I'm annoyed at them or whatever. And I think people don't realize that like lockdown has caused a chain of effects, and one of them was that people had a lot more time to paint stuff. More people got into it over lockdown and maybe don't have time to do it anymore. So that would be a big reason for drop in sales. And then obviously all these kind of supply chain issues have really messed up. Yes, it's messed up every industry.
I remember somebody saying that they'd switched from an external logistics company that was in a warehouse down the street from them to handling their own logistics, and I did
Yes, there are a
not
lot more
understand
Warhammer
what.
lorries around.
Sorry.
There are a lot more Warhammer lorries around.
Yeah. So, if you'll excuse me for explaining something that everyone but me probably knew, I wasn't aware that logistics, at least in British business parlance, is what Americans call shipping, or what Americans called shipping when I was growing up. In that it's
Yes,
the
yes, that's right.
warehouse, organizing the warehouse, getting stuff out of the warehouse and putting it onto a truck, driving it around, putting it in a different warehouse, organizing which wholesaler goes to which account. And, I guess a lot of times people where that I grew up with called that shipping, even though none of those steps involve a boat.
Yeah, logistics is like I don't know. I don't think I would have heard that like 20 years ago, but it seems to be what all those shipping places are called now.
Yeah, it's a better description, but it's also kind
Yeah,
of. But yeah. So if they moved,
also very vague and very corporate speak. I'm not too much of a fan of it, but who cares?
so yeah, if they moved all their stuff in house and then had COVID, and at the same time, that would definitely screw everything up. Um, so the but
Yeah.
I think we're definitely due a single war band to go with Nethermaze. I don't think we're due another two army starter set. And the
That makes sense.
this showed up on Twitter or somewhere,
Oh,
and it lines up with the this isn't the army that I want. This isn't the warband that I want. Sorry, excuse me. But the so the rumor I kept hearing was that we would get another warband for a faction that only has two warbands. And then they started doing
oh.
show us your fire slayers, unconnected to anything else as far as I knew. And the only two Fire Slayer warbands are the Chosen Axes from the first season and Thundrix Profiteers
Now
from.
the Profiteers aren't Fire Slayers. They are Dwarden, but they're not Fire Slayers.
Right. Well, yeah.
They
So
are.
I'm calling orcs and goblins and Durden and Fire Slayers the same faction, which is probably dismissive. And should we find like somebody who can who likes dwarfs and can yell at us for being wrong about dwarfs.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not huge on dwarves, but I have to say,
And Blood
I
Bowl. We need a dwarf and
seems
Blood
nice
Bowl
models.
player.
From what I've heard, the Fire Slayers are consistently like the least played faction in the game. Apparently, they're not very popular. So,
Hmm.
um, I know Games Workshop, some of their staff absolutely kind of they love that look and aesthetic. So they've got this kind of thing between like the designers might want to make the models, but they know they're not really going to sell. So maybe an Underworlds warband is a good way to kind of get out some of that love for them.
Hmm. If I had to choose any war band that has only two, or any faction that has only two war bands, the ogres only have two war bands. They have Mantrapper and the Pirate King, whose name I forget. And the Skaven
Yeah.
only have two war bands, but one of them's in this season's launch, and the Pirate King was last revision's launch. But the other one that's only got two war bands is Sylvaneth.
Hmm. That
Uh,
could be interesting, yeah.
yeah.
And it's kind of jury's out on whether Wild Hunt fit in Sylvaneth as well, because I know a lot of people are hoping for like a Kurnoth faction or I think they sit in cities at the minute, cities of Sigmar.
I am doing it again. I'm mistaking the Kerneth and the Sylvaneth as the same faction. Whoops.
Yeah.
I think the Kerneth are
But I
cooler.
get what you mean though. In terms of races, like I would have grouped these together.
Yeah.
They are like wood elf related stuff.
It's just occurred to me that I have every model on this screen that I need to paint.
Ah, right. They do. They are nice models. I would like to paint some of the old I'm blanking on the name now. The Dryardy guys. Sylvaneth, of course.
Oh. I painted up one of these for a mutual friend, but you've seen that, and we don't need to go into it. I would like to see real wood elves. I
That
remember
would be
with
amazing.
humor a certain very popular YouTuber and his up and coming partner discussing it, and the partner was trying to get him excited about Sylvaneth, and he's like, yeah, and they're like this and they're like that, and the other guy's like, I don't care, they're not wood elves, and he's like, yeah, but they're the replacement wood elves, and he goes, but they're not elves. He goes, yeah, but they're the replacement wood elves. And I thought
That's
that
some very good impressions there.
you've mentioned
Yeah,
that
but,
before.
yeah, a lot of people would go absolutely wild if they just did some like straight wood elves, just your classic wood elves. People would absolutely love that. But the thing is, like a lot of these Underworlds ones, they tend to go for a little bit out there because from what I hear, it's um, a new mini designer joining the team. Their first project will be design a warband, and that's why you get a lot more experimental stuff there.
Oh,
But it could be just straight wood elves. Who knows?
that could be interesting. I mean, that's the only other story I've heard about that is that the new character, or sorry, the Knight Incantor for the Mortal Realms magazine, the issue 5, the magazine exclusive one, was
Yeah.
designed by a novice designer as their first throwaway project. You know, design this, we'll make a physical prototype, you can look at it and go back for revisions. And the novice designer did it, and they looked at it and they go, oh, that's usable.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
So
from
whether
the
that's true or
sound of it,
not,
they
it's a
do quite
nice
well.
miniature. It's got a very
Yeah, I
interesting
wouldn't be
pose.
surprised if it was true.
It's got an interesting pose. Um, it's a nice variation on the concept. So if that's how if the war bands are like a new starting exercise, that's adorable and cute. And
Yeah.
whoever designed Bat Squigs should get to design more Squigs.
Yes, definitely.
Um,
Right.
Speaking of strange
So,
beasts, should we? Oh, sorry.
yes, moving on.
Yeah. So we know something's going on with
Oh.
WarCry, and we know there's going to be bones and lots of things with sticks.
Now this is very good. I think, related to the hero character we saw before, I think we are going to get something very um, Nurgle, but not Nurgle, in the way that some of the other warbands were like, okay, that could be Slanesh, or that could be Tzeentch, or that could be Khorne, but they haven't quite committed themselves to one god, but you can tell from the models that they're on that road. I think this is going to be something like that for Nurgle because we didn't get that in the first wave.
Oh, there weren't any Nurgle stuff. There was not. Sorry, there was not any Nurgle stuff in the first wave, was there?
No, no, nothing at all that. I mean, I guess you could say, maybe
I mean,
the Unmade.
what were the starters for the first one? Right? There was.
It was the Untamed Beasts, the weird bony ones, bony barbarians, and the Iron Golems, who were the big
Okay.
brass armored, corny looking guys.
I'm sort of annoyed I slept or missed Catacombs. I'm also annoyed I missed Silver Tower.
Hmm.
But the but all the starters have been interesting, and if
Yeah,
but the
I wish I had the scenery from this one. It looks amazing.
but the logo, Aimee, look, the logo's different. They changed the logo. That's
Oh
got to mean
yeah,
something.
that is interesting.
Is this going to be
I wonder if
Warcry
that's a
2.0?
permanent thing. Hmm.
We already know we get this guy.
Yeah. So if there's a new box with new scenery and everything, I'm thinking very much kind of from the look of this guy, something swamp based. We've seen like bamboo in that shot that was just on. So maybe some kind of like, just swamp with like reeds and
something to
I
fight.
don't know what kind of some like rotting bits of fallen statuary and stuff.
You're gonna cuddle and paint all of these, aren't you? Regardless.
Absolutely. Oh, maybe it could be like some like kind of wood paths tied together that float over the surface of the swamp, stuff like that. And maybe dangerous terrain could be a big part of it. That's just some ideas.
They've shown some other stuff with bases like this, though. Have you seen them? Have you seen them?
Oh right, what else had that base on? Oh, the Horns of Hashut.
Yeah.
Now, have those been confirmed released? Sorry, I'm
Those
behind on.
were these were from I think these were on screen when we were in Bugman's that time and grumbling about how we should start a podcast. Um,
Yes, yeah.
but if I recall, these were leaked ages ago, and then they showed up as a WarCry thing, which I think confused people because the leak implied they were Chaos Dwarfs because it was just a page from a codex.
I mean, they're called Horns of Hashut. Like, obviously,
Yeah,
they've got some relation to Chaos Dwarfs, but
or the
why they
Chaos
wouldn't
Dwarf
include
God.
any of them?
It's like, why aren't they dwarfs? This is
Yeah,
immensely stressful.
they're obviously taking their time to design the Hashut faction.
And there's sort of two sets of them that we've seen, but they look like you've got this leader thing and then a bunch of some mooks.
Yeah, I wonder if it's going to be the same for that Nurgle one, or did they say it was an independent, like, mercenary, though?
I
I
don't
can't
think
remember.
they've said any of that. The only
Okay,
the only detail
I
I remember
might...
is that we get this giant monstrosity.
Oh my God, I forgot about that model.
Yeah, me
I'm
too.
like
Until I was getting this
obsessed.
ready.
Yeah, I want to get my hands on that. I
Something
completely
something hoof
forgot that
joke.
was now.
I just
So what
noticed
the other
that
chaos
tail.
just forgot me. Yeah,
That was in
that's the
the.
tail that was in the rumor engine.
I know, and we were all wondering what sort of Tyranid it was.
Yep, yep.
Bet the
I
net
know
was in there too.
Warhammer Weekly. I remember. I'm pretty sure I remember them just going, "Ah, it's 40k. It's Tyranids." Ah, I think a
Um,
lot of people did. To be fair.
so I don't know. So leaks. I
Yeah.
think we've been discussing, and when the combat patrol had the like 3 boxes of termagants and some big guys, everyone was confused by it, and then in my brain more recently, it occurred to me, hey, what if they're doing that because the 10th ed's going to be a big Tyranid resculpt? That would make sense that
Yeah.
if they wanted to wind down production of the old sprues, but they were happy to keep the termagants, it would make sense that those would be the ones that they'd say these are definitely showing up on the combat patrol for the next 2 years.
Yep. Yep. And I mean, if you think about it, like 3 years ago, I know around about that time, that's the turnaround time for Games Workshop between them like starting a project and it getting released. Roughly 3 years. Sometimes it's more, sometimes it's less. But
That makes
about three
sense with
years
other
ago,
stuff, but yeah.
yeah, about 3 years ago, there was a huge wave of influences on social media saying like, "Give us more Tyranids," like, and I know this has been going on a lot longer than that. So I'm thinking, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Like, I was expecting a Tyranid kind of range refresh some point soon, and all this, it just feels right to me.
Yeah. I'm a bit smug and annoyed about this jump pack thing with 10th, which I also, you know, before I told anyone, I wrote down the guess, so it doesn't count, but I want to get counted for saying it. Meh. I thought it would be fun to see jump pack Space Marines versus Gargoyles in the box set, but
Yeah,
that would be cool. But yeah,
that would be.
giving jump packs to Primaris annoys me because then what's the why? why aren't we just calling all Space Marines Primaris now? Why do we need the new models? Meh, but it's fine.
Yeah, it's blatantly obvious now how they're going to phase out all of the firstborn Marines soon. They've drastically cut down on them already.
And somewhere I read, oh, in the first big paragraph, there's a comments about Primaris Terminators, which I think I mentioned when we record. So, for the audience, we have already recorded a podcast, and at the end of that podcast, when we were deciding what to do next, we heard about the Reveals show, and our poor beleaguered editor is editing all that together. This will be done more abruptly edited, and will
Yes.
likely come out before the real podcast. But during that one, I was grumbling about how the Dark Angels place such emphasis on the history of their Terminator suits. It's not like a shirt you change; it's like a noble steed that's passed
Oh,
from warrior to
yeah.
warrior.
I mean, they are holy relics, basically. But then again, they said that about all suits of power armor in the fluff originally, and obviously they've introduced like Mark 10, which kind of caused a lot of conflicts with the fluff. But I think at this point, people are just accepting like that fluff's just gone. The thing that made Terminator armor special was that each of them had on the Crux Terminatus a shard of the Emperor's armor in them, and whether that's going to extend to these ones, I don't know.
So is the Crux Terminatus is the left shoulder pad, the skull thing,
Yes,
skull
it's like
crest
the
thing?
skull with the four little
Yeah,
tabs coming out from it.
I've never double checked that detail, and you're better with these things. So, but yeah, no, I'm liking. I always liked the idea that the old firstborn Space Marine, their equipment was so damn old that each piece of it was sacred, and their whole suit of armor represented a collection of holy relics. But then the Terminator armors were like had lineages and like art had provinces and was
Yeah, yeah.
magically not needed to be replaced. So there was never a ship of Theseus problem of is this Terminator suit or is it a new one?
Mhm.
It's got parts from three of them, but
Well, yeah, I mean, like, particularly the traitor legions use bits of whatever Terminator armor they can find. Loyalists, like, it did always used to be in the fluff that, like, not just Terminator armor, but all armor, all, like, bolters, everything like that were, like, preciously guarded relics and had been used for thousands of years. And they had a fit if they lost even one of them. But that law seems to have definitely been just minimized because of the Primaris stuff.
it's a bit annoying to me that we've lost this unique quirk, but I'm not it doesn't ruin the game for me. It doesn't ruin the lore for well,
No.
it ruins a it's sort of I don't know. This might be something to talk about in a real podcast um, when I've collected my
Yeah.
thoughts. But yeah, so I like the idea that oh, so if the next codex is Votan, and we know we're getting a
Yes,
chaos cult.
that seems likely.
That's
And then we're
oh,
getting chaos cult.
is
Okay.
my do you mind if I switch to my guesses prediction?
Yes, yeah.
So my third guess was that we'd get the Votan before. Uh, so sorry. So all shades are going to be in 18 milliliter bottles from now on.
Wow.
Whatever. As I keep joking, the big people the only thing I've heard people complaining about with shades in the last 5 years is that they spilled the whole bottle. So if that's true, then switching the shades to an 18 milliliter bottle won't matter because it means there's just less to spill when you do spill it. Nobody runs out of the shade paints. You clowns keep spilling them. Stop using your
Yeah,
cat's.
yeah,
Stop using a sleeping cat as a painting desk. Um,
yeah.
something that somebody on Twitter said was that the that Horus Heresy was the first part of switching to a big release every year, and that spring 2023 would probably have the old world released, which will be the tedious micromanagement joy of Warhammer Fantasy.
I'd say no, not a
No?
chance.
Oh.
Earlier this, they still haven't showed us a single model, and that's the. It's going to be a year from the point we see a model easily.
Okay.
Like they've kept us updated with it, and they're still doing concept art. They're still showing us maps. Like I don't think there's a chance they're ready to go with this next year. Not with lockdown. Um, that's just my opinion though.
No,
Like
that's
maybe they could be holding stuff back. I don't know, but I can't see it.
I was hoping. The let me bump to the schedule and then jump back here. So I liked this mechanical idea that we've got 30K second edition this year. Next year we'd see Old World. Then 2024 would be the 10th edition of 40K. 25 would be, and then they'd be able to do. I know they probably wouldn't stick to this schedule forever, but business management tries to find something dumb to do, some dumb pattern to repeat, repeat, repeat. And as a fan player person, I don't object to them switching to this once a this would sort of be better for me, since they're releasing a new edition every 4 years instead of every three. But if they're not ready to go with Old World in 2023, I don't think they'd put out 10th or Sigmar. They definitely wouldn't put out Sigmar 4th edition, right?
I think lockdown's going to require like a 4 year cycle, even though, that stuff was released. It was stuff that was planned before lockdown. Um, yeah.
So this
I,
is a big bump chewing, or this is what's the opposite of a buffer in a supply chain?
I
Whatever the
don't
opposite
know.
of an embolism in their supply chain.
Yes.
That's the
Yes.
thing when you get a bubble in the blood, right?
Yeah. But at the same time, like, they have to go to the shareholders and say, okay, this is going to be our big selling item this year. So, what are they going to do if they haven't got a big game? It could then be Old World. Maybe they're way ahead of schedule and they've just been holding it back. Maybe there could be the new 40K. But
I mean,
I guess
if we're already chomping at the bit with the Tyranid stuff, maybe. Like
yeah.
if we're all annoyed at it, or maybe Old World will be late in the year. I mean, we're only halfway through 2022. If instead of a summer release they targeted like a fall one, they could have the year ramp up of peaking one thing at a time. But yeah, I think you're
Mhm.
right. There hasn't, as much as this rumor from months ago excited me because it's like a peek into the workings of my favorite pastime, of a peek into the dull production details of my favorite pastime. Um,
Yeah.
it's I haven't seen enough old world stuff to make me think it's anything more than a rumor at this point.
Yeah. But Games Workshop's obviously got a big seller planned for next year. This year, it was obviously the Horus Heresy. Um, yeah, what could they possibly do? I don't know at this point. Really don't know.
Battle boxes probably, but
Sorry.
I don't think they'll have that big ticket item of the big release next year. Yeah.
It's
Um,
it's hard to see what they could have done with all the supply chain stuff, but like I say, they've got to produce something to show to be their big seller. So maybe another Warhammer Quest.
that could be fun. I would like to see more Warhammer Quest stuff. I have bought all the Warhammer Quest stuff. I've opened only two of them, the Cursed City and the Blackstone Fortress, and I only opened Cursed City due to peer pressure. No, I hate opening boxes before I'm gonna paint the stuff because it feels like there's like this very mild amount of glee when you open the box, but
Yeah,
I feel like that should be saved for when you also have the time to do the work on the box
I can
because
never resist that. First thing I want to do is just like rip off that cellophane and just have a
oh,
good ogle of the sprues.
I
I can't help
do
myself.
the sort of thing in my head is that I can't keep up with the buying rate to do that. So I'm getting the same
Yeah,
daily uh, injection of that serotonin by I'm getting the same number of serotonin injections as I would
yeah.
if I don't open the shrink wrap. And if I don't open the shrink wrap, then I technically haven't committed to painting the box. I've just got the box and it retains almost all of its resale value or gift
Yeah,
value.
yeah.
And
That makes sense, yeah.
but
But to be
I'm
honest,
not
most of
judging
the kits
anyone who
I've bought
needs.
lately, I've literally just like cut them up for a few bits for kit bashes and then chucked them in the pile. So probably wasted away of buying stuff, but
Oh, I think I've got all my unopened stuff still, and it's no, no, a bunch of my war bands, Underworld war bands. I made the 3D printed cases for them, and they're assembled.
oh
Um,
cool.
I felt very smug when writing this to suggest that they were going to switch to a 4-year refresh, reborn, rundown structure where the army release would have a big refresh for one of the ranges. Like, we got a big refresh for Necrons. Next, we'll get the big refresh for Tyranids. We got a big refresh for Orcs in Age of Sigmar 3.
Yep.
And so maybe Age of Sigmar 4 will be a big refresh for something else.
Skaven, please. Skaven or Lizardman? Skaven versus Lizardman.
Now,
Seraphim, sorry. That would be my ideal box.
I
I
would.
would buy I would buy that so quickly.
I think between
But
you and
I'm
me.
pretty sure it's not
Okay,
gonna be Storm.
what you and me could do is we could buy 3 of them and then split some of the third box with each other and put all the rule books on eBay.
Yes, yes, that would be ideal. Like if
uh,
oh god, for a range refresh of Seraphon and Skaven, like that would just be my dream.
yeah, Scavenger. And I like the idea. Okay. Going back to my dumb ideas, I like the idea of the Dawnbringer scruffy, grimdark in the noble setting Dawnbringer army being the 2023 version of the Volton. It will look like it'll be like, "Hey
Yeah.
kids, the Empire's back."
That would be awesome. That would be awesome. I know they wouldn't hew too closely to the Empire if they're going to be bringing out Old World at some point soon. But it would be nice to see those kind of ideas evolve to like the Age of Sigmar, like Mortal Realms style. I'd love to see what that turns out as.
Silly hats, trench coats, and swords with black powder
Yeah,
pistols.
yeah.
Um,
The couple of models of like the witch hunter and stuff like that we've seen have been super cool. I want to see more of that.
so I think that's everything.
Yep.
So I believe you're working on a video. I'm procrastinating starting the next video.
Yep.
And our fearless leader is working on a large psoriasis force when the mood strikes her and editing when she has the time. So thank you
Yeah.
for I'm
Well,
thank you for having me. Thank you for joining me. However we do this.
thanks very much for listening. Yep. We'll try and have another podcast out soon or something to look at those reveals if there's good stuff that we want to talk about.
Yes.
So thank you very much and see you soon.
See you soon.